What's up, guys? Happy Tuesday. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. I'll show you around the car a little bit, and then I'm going to go with what I think as a beginner drifter, the top 5 things you should have on your drift car, or you should be ready for with your drift car before your first drift event. Let's go. Alright, guys. 5 things I think you should have or you should know before your first drift event. Number 1, we're not going to count number 1. Okay, let's do 6. Number 1, have yourself a rear-wheel drive 5-speed car. A lot of people choose the Nissan 240SX. Now that I have mine, now that I see the prices of them going up, I wouldn't choose this car again. I would choose 350Zs were good. They're starting to get up there in price. Again, not something I'd choose. BMW. Right now, I would choose BMW all day, every day if I were buying another drift car. And I honestly think that's where I'm going to go if I ever get a missile car. That's the kind of car I'm going to get. So let's go ahead and start with the top 5. Number 1 being maintenance. Maintain your car. It's simple. A lot of people obviously think about it, but it's a lot of overthinking. Check your brakes, check your tires, check your rotors, change your oil, diff fluid, transmission, wiring, cooling, everything. Just maintain it. Make sure it's running top notch. Make sure you give it a shakedown before you take it to the track. I'm not talking go out and beat the heck out of it. I'm talking just do a regular drive around with a little bit of hard driving. Watch your temps, watch your oil pressure, watch your oil temps, and watch everything just to make sure that you are going to be safe on the track, because the worst thing that could happen to you, it's happened to me, is have an issue after you've already paid, go out on track for a lap, have an issue. I had that issue with an injector. There's nothing worse than paying, driving all that way to load your car on the trailer after 5 minutes of fun. It's not that good. Number 2, get yourself a good clutch. Put a good clutch in your car. This isn't on a lot of people's lists. Here's why it's on mine. I've seen people go out with OEM clutches. I've seen them go out for an event, a half an event, a full season. I'm not willing to put my time, labor, and money that I would rather spend in the summer on drift events for a new clutch. When you get something, you never know how old that clutch is. It might be OEM, it might be eBay 6-puck. You don't know how they broke it in, if they broke it in. There's too many variables, and I think it just makes a lot more sense to change the clutch before you do a drift event, just like you would change the oil on a car that you would buy before driving it. You're not going to trust what they say, and they shouldn't trust what you say when you sell a car. So my number 2 is put an aftermarket clutch in. What I run is I run a spec stage 3 6-puck clutch. It's sprung. It works fantastic. It's not as hard on off as everybody wants to tell you it is. It actually works pretty swell. Orion ran one in his old WS6 Turbo Trans Am, and he loved it as well. So my suggestion for a clutch, don't cheap out on clutch. Don't buy eBay on clutch. Get yourself a ACT, something reputable. And my recommendation is the clutch I've used, the clutch Jake uses in his RB240, and the clutch Orion uses in his drag car. Spec stage 3 6-puck sprung clutch. 3. Number 3 on my list, and these are in no specific order. These are just the 5 things I think you should have on your car before you go drifting. The third thing, safety equipment. I like these Sparco Sprint seats. I recommend getting, not necessarily the Sparco Sprint, but I recommend getting a seat that has some good bolsters in it. You're not going to be sliding back and forth on. It's a common thing that a lot of people will tell you to get done. Main reason is you're going to slide, you're going to go back and forth, you're going to go off track a lot your first event, and there's nothing you want more than to go off track and have sore thighs and sore calves from holding yourself in your non-bolstered factory seat. Some seats are okay, but let's just qualify this as in all cars. Get a seat with good bolsters. Get yourself a fire extinguisher. They're not very expensive. They're pretty cheap, and you can get them at any O'Reilly's, Napa, Walmart. Everybody's got a Walmart. Get yourself a fire extinguisher. It's better to be safe than sorry. I didn't want to go with the factory seat belts. I went with a RJ Racing cam lock harness. Works really good. I like it a lot. My seats are FIA. My belts are SFI. And it really helps out. It helps make me feel safer. Helps make Britt feel safer. And those are some three safety equipment items: seat belts, seats, and a fire extinguisher. I recommend a fire extinguisher no matter what. Seats, I recommend if your bolsters are not, if you don't have very good supporting bolsters. And seat belts, I recommend if that's going to make you feel better. It made me feel better. I didn't want to trust 1990 seat belts with my life, especially with Britt's life, and that's another main reason I want to go with the cage, other than we don't offer cageless tandems. So 2 reasons: 1, for Britt, help make me feel safer having a cage with her in, and 2, so we can start tandems when I'm ready for that. My number 4. Get yourself a hydro. A lot of people don't recommend one of these. Someone who has helped me tremendously, this wasn't one of his recommendations. Here's why I will recommend it. 1, a hydro e-brake is one of the easiest entries that you can do with the clutch kick. It's going to help you when you try to almost over rotate. It's going to help you elongate your drifts. And here another big controversy everybody has is dual calipers or pass-through setup. The guy who helped me tremendously with everything with this build, he runs pass-through. Another couple guys run pass-through. So that's what I run, as a pass-through. And it has your pros and cons. Your main con is it's a little harder to modulate your foot brake with your handbrake, near impossible. When you're holding the hydro back and you push the foot brake, if you're not hanging on hard enough, it will rip through. Another thing, it takes a lot more force to rip that hydro handbrake back and get them rear brakes to lock up. Luckily, so I went through some stuff that I can help you guys. Some stuff I went through that didn't work and I spent a lot of money on. My first thing is I went with cheap eBay pads first. Awful, didn't lock. I went with O'Reilly's brand pads. Awful, didn't work. I went with Hawk pads. They worked alright. And the one pad I found that they're amazing is I went with the Project Mu D1. I got them from Toge Factory, and they work splendid. They are a little spendy, I'll tell you that, but you guys can learn from me. I spent way more than that going from eBay all the way up to these to figure out that this is what I needed to lock the rear brakes. It's fairly simple to put in. It's fairly straightforward. But the bleeding process is serious. It's something you seriously have to do. And something I recommend when doing a hydro is get some Russell Speed Bleeders. What these are is they go in the, for the bleeder, you'll take out the old bleeder and put these in, and it's basically got a check valve in them. So you can what I do is I open all four up, I jack it up, take all four wheels off, open all four up, and then I'll get in there and pump the brakes. You don't have to, there's no more pump, 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 open it, shut it, pump, 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 open it, shut it. It's open all four and pump, and then it'll blow out, but it doesn't come back in, thankfully, for that check valve that's in the bleeder. Number 5 on my list, and I can't fully support this one because I haven't checked it out on track yet, but I can tell you what has sucked is using this, or not having this, when you really wanted it, because I've seen plenty of people try without, me included. Everyone says, try without it first, learn without it first, you'll become a better driver without it, drive a few years without it, get used to the car, and then put this on. Angle kit. Get an angle kit. Just from a little bit of street driving, obviously down south of the border, of course. It's so much easier to modulate, know where the car's going, and I understand where everybody's coming from. Is you do learn to become a better driver because you're not relying on the angle to bail you out in drift if you tend to over rotate. That you're gonna over rotate, and you're gonna over rotate a lot your first few drift events, and it's frustrating. It's super frustrating. If I didn't have the constant friends in my ear, hey, you know, this, trying to help me get better, I get it. There's a lot of people that quit because they get so frustrated because they can't get it to they don't seem to have any fun. So I recommend angle kit. Get yourself an angle kit. It doesn't need to be Wisefab. It doesn't need to be expensive. I run the Technic angle kit, and it's fantastic. You guys have seen the videos. This is nowhere near the angle that it has. It's got so much angle. It's super reliable. It's a great, it's a really, really good kit, and it's a cut and weld style knuckle, rack relocated forward with custom tension rods, and Nick does awesome work. So you guys can check out Technic Slide and check out some of his kits. Give him an email, shoot him a message on Facebook, let him know I sent you, and he'll get you set up really good. Some bonus tips. There's my 5. There's my 5 things I think you need to have before you go drifting. Obviously, I'm not including your welded diff. You should definitely have that done, or limited slip. And the angle kit it's not cheating. Don't let people tell you that, because people will want to tell you that. And you know, I had a hard time wanting to get an angle kit because of everybody telling me, oh, you don't you know, be better first, and you know, no. I want to go out there and I want to feel like I'm learning. I don't want to feel like I'm constantly going in the grass, and I have that feeling, and it sucks. And I don't want you guys to feel like that too. If you're watching this and you're looking for tips and pointers, get an angle kit. Don't let somebody talk you out of it. And don't let somebody talk you into something expensive like Wisefab or something like that. Learn with an angle kit first. That's what I'm going to suggest. I'm not going to suggest learn on, you know, stock angle. I'm going to suggest learn on a cut and welded and extended control arms and knuckles. Bonus tips. Bonus things I think you should have that are important. Gauges. I run a boost gauge, an AFR gauge, a water temp gauge, and an oil pressure gauge. Constantly keep my eyes on all 4 of those. And I think those are important gauges that all of you guys should have too. It's It's a helpful thing. It makes you feel better when you're on grid, looking and making sure everything's fine. Another thing, don't overbuild your car. Everyone's overbuilding their cars. Everyone, some of the people getting into drifting now are, mid-20s, and that's great. That's where I'm at. And they have the money, and they're dumping it all on building this Pro-Am style car. And I know you guys have heard it from other YouTubers, so let it sink in, let it go through. Don't overbuild your car. You want a car that you can go out and have fun with. You don't want a car that you don't want to take on the street. You don't want to drive it and hang out with friends because you're worried, it might overheat, it might do this, it might do that. This is the limit that I will build this car to. It's still fun to drive on the street. It's comfortable, ish, not on long distance. But I want a cage, and that's it. I'm done. I'm not going to overcomplicate things. Suspension is something you're going to want to look at when you get in there. A lot of people are going to talk trash on your Racelands and coilovers like that. Jake drifts on Racelands, and he does just fine. And Jake's a great driver. So don't let anybody try to pressure you into spending so much money. It's not fun when you're broke. It's not fun when you're broke because you're building something and you're not great at it. That's the worst, is when you're spending all this money and you have nothing to show for it. And that's another main reason I recommend this angle kit. Not this one in particular. I recommend this one, yes, but an angle kit. Don't overcomplicate things. Don't go out and, build this car, spend all this money, not get an angle kit, and then go out and spin 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 out. It's fun for a while because you get in your head, you're like, I'm learning. But your second event comes, your third event comes, and your fourth event comes, and you're still spinning. It just sucks with how much money you've spent, and you're not seeing any real results. You're seeing results, but not as much as, your friends. I watch people who picked up on drifting the same day I did. They started drifting the same time I did. And they're out there linking the track, looking fantastic with some serious angle coming in real hot. But the first thing they did was an angle kit. They didn't listen, and they just put on an angle kit, and I wish I had done that. I really do. And that's what I'm going to recommend to you guys, is an angle kit. The Hydro works fantastic. Safety equipment is a big thing. And clutch. There's number 5. Clutch. So, there's my 5. Maintenance. Clutch. Hydro. Angle kit. And safety equipment. So, that's kind of all it's going to do for today. A little bit of checking out the car. A little bit of different content telling you what I think and what I think you should do and you should be ready for when you go to your drift event. Another big thing. Another big thing. Don't worry about how you're going to get your car there. Everybody thinks, oh, I can't do it because I don't have a hauler. No, don't use that as an excuse. U-Haul is $19 for a truck. And you could spend a year with a U-Haul truck and trailer renting it. Drift events are not every weekend thing. It's one paycheck. Take $250 out of that paycheck, and then you got your truck rental, your trailer rental, your food, your water, your entry fee, your gas to drive there, and you're perfectly fine. So you don't need a hotel. 2-day events, I put an air mattress in this thing. I take out the third row, fold down the second row. I love it. It works perfect. Put an air mattress in, sleeps great. So, I don't know, just don't if it's something you want to do, there's a way you can do it. Make it happen. So that's everything I got today. My 5 things with bonus tips of what you should have on your car, or you should be ready for with your car before you go drifting. I'm Budget Slides. Like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends. You share with your friends. Keep on sliding.